Hi, my name is Tim Gerber. I am the author of this website, Gerber Family of Switzerland. I call it different things, but it specifically is concentrated on the Longnau area of Bern, Switzerland, which is where a good portion of my family comes from. And the website is gerberfamily.org. If you're watching this video, you've probably already visited it because I hope to put that as a link on this website. So I just wanted to give you an overview of the website, show you how to navigate it because it can be kind of confusing for a first-time user. But I think once you get in there, you're going to find that there's just a wealth of information, and it's not just me that is you know should be considered the author, because there are a lot of people who have generously given me their information as they've done research, and so it just helps everybody to in their research if we got more and more people connected. So if you find that there's some information that you know of that isn't in here and you want it to be in here, feel free to to let me know. Like your family, if you find that you're connected to us, or there's some birth dates that aren't in there or whatever, let me know so we can put that in there. Because the more information we have in here, the easier it'll be for you to do research. Because I can connect person to person. Somebody contacts me and says, "Hey, do you know who put this information in here? Because I have some questions, or I have some more things I would like to add to it." Well, then I can contact you and say, "Hey, so and so wants to connect with you. Would you like to open up a conversation with them?" And then we can allow that to happen. So feel free to donate to this site in terms of information. If you want to donate monetarily, that's fine too, but that's never really been a thought. So anyway, you just never turn down money, right? So this is basically what it's going to look like to you. If you're not an administrator, you won't have as much ability as I do, but so I've logged off of this, so you won't see some of the back end type stuff that's available to you. But so it's going to look something like this. I'll zoom out just a little bit. Okay. So it will look different for you, hopefully, because I'm just now starting to update these articles. This is just a template for the most part, and this is the only article that I put in here, and it's not even complete yet. It's still work in progress here, and all these links down here are these guys aren't related to us, so they're just placeholders at this point. So a feature article will look something like this. Again, I am in the progress of making this page here, but this shows information about this house that's kind of important to our family. And so you'll see something like this. There'll be a map here once I get the API corrected, and pictures that you can look at, and histories and things like that. So if you have information that you think would be really interesting to people and you want it to go on the front of the website, contact me. I'd be happy to consider it. We're really trying to make this website as interesting as possible, and as feature packed and as full of data as possible as well. So like currently we have over 12,500 individuals indexed in this website, and I focus mainly on ancestry and not so much living individuals, but we do need to put living individuals in here. So because down the road, your descendants may be looking for something, and it'd be nice to have your information in there. So if you see that the website doesn't have you in here, you feel free to contact me, and I'm love to connect you in here and get more of your data in here. Or if you find something's wrong, let me know. You can contact me directly through this website. If you go to info and contact us, then you can put, you can send me an email through that, and then I'll be glad to converse with you on that. If you know me personally, have my email address or phone number, feel free to just connect with me, and be happy to help you out in any way I can. Certainly, if you want information about how to find things on this website, I'm happy to kind of walk you through that. But that's kind of what this tutorial is for right here. So you can see just by hitting this info, there's a lot of information that's in here, but you get media and other things that are in here. But let's start off with the most simplest way of searching. Um, you can go up to this search button right here, and it has a very simple search feature here. Now, I do need to point out that information on living individuals is not shown on this website unless you're an administrator. And the reason we do that is we want to protect everybody's privacy. So you don't try searching for yourself. Unless you're dead, you're not going to find yourself. And so, if you do find yourself on there, let me know. There's a problem. But if I search for Ernst Gerber, my immigrating ancestor on the Gerber side, then I'm going to find some information on him. One thing I need to point out too is that, like as I said, there's 12,500 individuals currently on this website. Hopefully, that's going to continue to grow. But some of those individuals are from other parts of my family, so they're not all related to the Gerber family that was from Langnau, Switzerland area. So don't be surprised if you see somebody from Germany in there or whatever. That's somebody you don't need to worry about. Now, if you're on that side of the family and you visit the website, yeah, feel free to browse as much as you want. But some of the information is not going to be relevant to you. So here we've got Ernst Gerber, and I want to specifically search for or look at this Ernst right here. And now this is what we call an individual page, and you can see that it's highlighted individual. And the different sections that are underneath of this are in this area right here. So if I click on one of these, it's going to pop down to it. So if I click on media, or it'll just pull it up right there. But I want to look at all of his information at this point. What you see on an individual page is the vitals for that person, mostly. So vitals would mean like their birth date, and when they died, and their marriage dates, things like that. And so that information about the individual is usually located right here. And underneath of that, then you're going to find the family that he's from down in this area. And so this is his father, his mother. There might be some pictures down here, some PDFs. There's a lot of great information regarding a lot of these families in here that are like attachments. And so you can pull those off, print them out, do what you wish with them. If you find problems with them, let me know. But so that would be like this family here. Now, if they have more than one family, you'll see family 1, family 2 listed underneath it. And so underneath that, you're going to have his family. So this is the family he came from, and this is the family that this would be his spouse, and his kids are going to be located right here. And any relevant photos that I might have might be in there, and you can click on it to get bigger pictures. We won't do that right now. But you can see all of his kids, and if there's a plus beside it, it means there's more information about that person. So if I clicked on Theodore Roosevelt Gerber, which is my grandfather, you're going to find a similar page for him, and more pictures, some of the same pictures. Here's some census data. I'll show you kind of what that looks like. So you can look at it. Oh, there he is right here. So this is his family at that time of year, or that year, and I don't know what year that was right off the top of my head. 1925, and it's in Kansas. So anyway, so it's this type of information that you'll find in a lot of these areas here. Now, these are the 7 kids that he's gotten. Because it says living, because I don't have death dates for any of these individuals, but as of today, I know 2 of them have recently passed, so I'm hope to update that information soon. And once they pass, then it's going to show their detailed information on there as well. So this is how I was saying that if it's a living person, we're not going to show data on that. We'll just show how many kids they had. So yeah, so that's that's his family information right here. Let me go back to Ernst though. He's the guy we were focusing on. So that's his family information, pictures, documents, like I said, census reports, and underneath that is an event map. So this shows any events for the vitals, his vitals. So birth, death, baptism, marriage. It's going to show little pins, or even sometimes residence if they were living in a certain area somewhere, and I just put that piece of information in there, and it'll pop up. So you'll see here, born, married, died, and then you just find the pins here. And so if you really wanted to, kind of focus in on that, you get directions to log now. Yeah, good luck. Zoomed out a little bit here. So I can probably, zoom in on that a little bit. And so he's from Longness in Bern, Switzerland. But specifically, the family came from an area or a house called, but he didn't live there, but his father came from a house called Vorder Giebel, which is just outside Longness. So I'm just gonna show you where that's at, because it's interesting to a lot of people. So Vorder Giebel is this house right here. So let's just zoom in a little bit more on it. Okay, and there's a hill up to the north part of this. So what's really cool is you can take this little guy right here, just drag him over to one of the streets. As long as the street's been, see, if I drag him up here, the street isn't highlighted. It means I can't drop him there. But on some of the major streets, I can drop them, and we can see a view of the area from the street. And I find this really, really interesting. So basically, you can navigate around. You can see, okay, here's that main house there. And I can kind of go up the street a little bit. You can see right there is where, the cows are brought in, and they got a lot of hay back there where they feed the cows. Back here is the barn door. They can bring the hay right off the hill right into here, and then they drop it down for the cows to eat. And so I'm just going to kind of navigate around a little bit. This is over here is what they call the Stuchli. I'll explain that in a second. I'll give you a kind of a front-facing view of this thing. The Stuchli is considered a retirement home for the parents of whoever's living in Giebel. So Giebel is the name of this house, Vorder Giebel specifically, so what happens is the youngest male child receives the house. By that time, the older kids are older, they're out of the house, they've got jobs, and then the house is passed down to the youngest male child. And basically, that child then is responsible to take care of the parents. And so the parents move over to this retirement home, and that's where they live out the rest of their days. Down here we'll see what's called a speaker. It means storage, so it's a storage shed. This used to be much larger. There were some some damage that was done by some wood-eating bug, termites or something, and so they ended up shrinking it down in size. But it's interesting. There's an inscription around this speaker that actually shows who built it, and one of our earliest ancestors that we know of, Michael Gerber, his inscription's on there, so it's a really nice thing. So you can travel around. In distance you can kind of see, it's a cloudy day here, but on a good day you can really see the tallest peaks of the Swiss Alps here. So anyway, that's how you can kind of navigate around on this, but I like these maps, they're really cool. Down here you'll find some more photos regarding the individual. Let's see. There's just a lot of information here. More documents. His military Swiss service book is here. Probably some tax documents or whatever. There's a lot of different things. And then any ship photos that he would have been on. So he actually came over to the United States twice. So he came over, went back for some reason. I understand he didn't like his new stepmother, so he decided to come back, and then he stayed. I also understand that people didn't like him a whole lot, so they're glad he was gone. But I never. Well, I did meet the guy when I was 2 years old, but that was about it. So, anyway, this is just what we call an individual page. Now, if you want to see the ancestors of the individual, or navigate from this individual, it's really, well, if you want to really navigate, if I want to go to the father, all I have to do is click on his name, and I get the father's information. So, and then I can go to the spouse's information, or his this guy's mother's information, or if I go down here, I can go to the spouse's information, and you can just jump back and forth as you want. So, but another way to do that is to do a visual navigation, and that is just to click on the ancestors, or descendants, depending on which direction you want to go. We'll just focus on the ancestors right now. So here's an ancestor page. If I have photographs, they'll be put in here. The individuals, this is the oldest photograph we have of any of our ancestors on the Gerber side. So, and if you hover over them, you'll get more information. And then, like if I wanted to go to, oh yeah, I want to go to his son Friedrich, I can click on that, and it'll take me to that individual's page. So, if you want to go beyond Christian Gerber here, you just keep on clicking on the arrows. Here it doesn't work because it doesn't know which kid I want to go to. Yeah, it does actually. It gets to a certain point, it won't let you. You have to actually choose the child that you want to go to. So let's see, if I clicked on here, I could go to Ernst, and it'll jump over to him. So you can actually add more. If your screen's big enough, you can add more individuals to this. Like if I zoom down to my browser, well, it won't show that, but I can scroll back and forth. There's a scroll bar. Or not. Yeah, so you probably don't want to put too many people on this, on this page here. You can actually PDF this to, if you like what you see. There's different formats, so if you can go vertical, and it gives you that type of format. A lot of times that's easier for people to read. And if you want to go compact, you can do that as well. And so now you got multiple generations here, and you can just easily navigate back and forth from that one. So I don't even know what all these. See what a fan chart looks like. Fan chart's pretty cool. Yeah. So this is a different way of showing your ancestry. Anyway, that's all fun, but then we do the same thing with descendants. But most everything is usually done through this individual website or page, and then you can just click on the links that are below that. Another thing you can look at is, aside from individuals, we have family pages. So, as I said, Christian and Anna are Ernst's parents. So, if I want to see their entire family, I can go to the family ID down here and go to group sheet, and it'll show me father, mother, and all the children, and information about each of the children that way. So if you want to get a snapshot of the entire family, that's a nice way to do that. We'll go back to Ernst here. If you want to do a family chart, it'll show graphically the family. But usually the group sheets, if you're doing a lot of research, it's easiest just to pull this up and look at it. So if you wanted to get a quick view of family, you can do that. So that's of the parents. The family, his family is down here, and so I can go down to the end of the his family section here, and I can look at that group sheet, and it'll show me all that information. So that's a nice way to get a full view of the family. And let's see, what else did I want to talk about with the family? Oh yeah, so if you have an individual that's been married more than once, you'll see family number 1, and then underneath that family number 2. So it'll show both families if I have that information in there. Again, if you see a location here and you want to see where this Oneida is, you can click on this link right here, and it'll show you the location, and it'll also show you anybody who's linked into that location there. So Um, just a way to jump around. There's so many links in this thing that you can jump back and forth between. By the way, if you provide me any information and I include it on the website, I will include you as a source on the website. So that's always linked at the bottom, kind of like a footnote. And so you'll see, who has provided me the information. Everybody is due. Um, it needs to be credited for the work that they've done. So I assure you, I will always make that happen. If you find out that I don't, I will change it. I wouldn't want to do all this work myself and then just hand it off to somebody and then forget that I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing. So eventually, when I pass away, somebody's going to get it for free. But anyway, so we talked about these sort of things. What's kind of neat is if we got Ernst Gerber here, and if I click on relationship, I can say, okay, what's the relationship between Ernst Gerber and if you had yourself, you could put yourself in here, but since it doesn't show living individuals, I'm not sure it'll actually show that. I think my ID is this I0242, and so I'm going to click on that, and yeah, so he's my great grandfather. That's what it says. So, but it's not showing me actual information about myself here. As administrator, I could log in as an administrator, and it'll show that to me. Now, what's really nice is sometimes you can be the third cousin twice removed or something like that, and somebody will contact me and say, I think I'm related to you. I'm on I've got some information on here, or I've got my grandfather on here. How you related to him? I can type that in, and it'll show me immediately who this is. So on the relationship page, you can find people just by clicking here and doing a quick little search, and then that'll find different individuals. So that's how you can determine a relationship between two individuals. And if you don't know your ID and want to know how you're related to somebody else, just let me know, and I can find your ID for you and give that to you, and then you can type that in, and it'll show you how you relate to that person. Timeline, it's not too beneficial, but it'll show like different world events that are going on in the world at that time. And if you want to make suggestions, and I really encourage you to do that. If you find mistakes or you find things you can add to it, put your information in here, suggest it, and then I'd be happy to update the website accordingly. It's always nice to say, here's how I know this information is true, and that way I can record how reliable this information is. So we'll go back to the individual page here. Now there's other ways of searching. So one way would be just go to this Find tab, and you can search by, if you know the person's last name, you just type it in here, and click on something. Like if I want to look at Gerbers, it's going to show me all the Gerbers, all the living Gerbers that I have in this website, and there's 890 here, and some basic information. And you just click on any of these, and you can find out more information about them if I have any. So in this case here, I just know the father and mother's name, and father's not listed because at that time I put this in there, he was living. I don't have any death information on it. So so you can do that. You can just look at, get a list of surnames or first names, or you do a very advanced search here, and you can type in first and last names. If you be very careful about what you put in here, because Ernst and Ernest can be used interchangeably, so depending on how they're put in there, that may or may not show up. So you might just try ERN, and it might come up with Ernie. Here's one that's Werney. I don't know who that is. Maybe it's a typo. But Laverne. So it'll come up with individual or names for a list of people that match your search, and a heat map will show you where they're located in around the world. But also you can get you can search by birth years. You can kind of do range of years. So if I wanted to say, I know they're greater or less than, or 10 years from 1835 or something like that, I can do that. So if you know more information, you can put it in here, but be careful about putting too much information in there, because it might not show something if it doesn't know. So start with a little bit of information, and then you can kind of be a little bit more specific later. So that's probably a very good way of searching. You can search the entire website through here, kind of a global search. You can search for places here. So if I were to type in or just I can type in a name, or I can say, all right, I want to look for Giebelfeld, or let's go Giebelkela, or Kellen. Giebelkellen is another name for it. It's just one of the houses that you see here. I've actually visited this house. There's a nice old lady that was working. She was actually kind of in the barn area. She was doing some work. So I can't drop anything here because Google hasn't mapped it here. So unfortunately, I can't show you what it looks like. Actually, it burned down since then, and they've rebuilt it. So, but anyway, she was peeling potatoes, and we asked her why she was peeling the potatoes, and thought it was for her dinner, and she said, no, we feed it to the cows when their stomachs get upset. It helps their stomachs. I don't know if that actually works or not, but that's what she said. Again, you can make a suggestion about the place. Hey, this place is a little bit off or whatever. You just make a suggestion right there. If there are people that are linked to this location, it'll show up underneath here. So you might. It's also a way to find people if you know their location they're from. If I have cemeteries linked in here, they'll show up. You can search for those. I don't really focus too much on cemeteries, but I can put them in. Yeah, you can bookmark anything that's on here, and then save it. So if you have, I encourage you to sign up for a membership for this. It's free. We don't charge anything. It won't give you information on living individuals, and it won't really give you a whole lot more information than what you already have. But it's a little bit easier to do some suggestions on changes, and when you bookmark, it'll save all your information, and so you can jump back and forth between places pretty quickly. So really encourage you to do that. And also, if we were to have a family reunion, or a way to, it's nice to have a way to get in touch with you. If you provide me any information, or when you sign up, you can say, hey, here's who I'm related to, and I find out that there's somebody researching that that side of the family, then I'd like to allow you to be able to converse with that with that person. And I wouldn't just give them your information, but I would contact you and say, hey, so and so is researching your family line. They may have information that you might be able to use. Would you like to open a conversation with them, and then I can connect you guys together. So really, it'd be a great idea for you to jump in and get a membership. Just just sign on. Another thing you need to know is we don't spam. We don't sell the information. We don't do any of that. That's not what we're about. So we're just trying to help you guys out in connecting individuals together. So anyway, so you can search for things that way too. Another thing you can do is if I do have my oldest, I guess the youngest deceased ancestors in here set up by default in here. So if you are related to me directly, you can do his side, her side, and you can pop right into, his information, and then you can kind of go from there and find out, how far back my information goes. This is actually definitively the last person we know is our ancestor on the Gerber side. So anyway, that's just another way to jump back and forth. And if you want to get that person's individual information, just click on that, and then you got all that information right there. Media, there's just a lot of media in here. So I click on photos. You're going to have tons of different photos on here, and you can again search for it. Keep in mind, when you're doing genealogy, always use the mother's maiden name, not their married name. If you use the mother's maiden name, things might not show up. So the maiden name is what you need to use. A married name. If I were to use both married name and the maiden name indiscriminately, just one or the other, then things wouldn't match. So we always go by their maiden name. their given name, as some others would or their given surname, or their born surname, I guess. Um, yeah, again, so that you can drill down, you can get a little bit tighter control by going like into histories and things like that. You can search for different things. Like ship photos. If you know there's a ship that one of the ancestors was on, you can get a photo there and just search that. Don't have a lot of them in there, but I'm happy to add more if you have something you want to put on here. Um, and I don't do too much with albums, or you can search all media too. That's always possible. And we're nearing the end here. Info. What's new is just things that I've added recently. Most wanted are things that I've kind of wanted to get more information on and haven't been able to find that. So, give an example. I don't really update this. I mean, it's been years since I've updated this, but like this family here, I know my immigrating ancestor came from this family, but I don't have any contact to any of these descendants of these individuals, his sisters and their husbands. So I would love to have information about them, and if they're any of their descendants, so we can reconnect the next time in Switzerland. Or I can just show them what's on this website, so they probably don't have any idea that this stuff exists out there. So I'd love to be able to get in contact with them. So I throw it up here in hopes that somebody may see it. Nobody ever does, so but that's what that's about. Reports, I haven't saved any reports. Statistics are kind of neat. So here you can see that it's almost a 50-50 split between males and females. How many people are in the database. Some don't, for some reason I don't have a gender on them. Some of the information I get is imported from other people, so be careful. When you see the information, I try to be as transparent as possible whether this information is reliable or not. And some people are amateur genealogists, and they find information they think is true. They find it on a website somewhere, they throw it up there, and they don't really have any way of backing it. So I try to note that as much as possible, but be careful when you're searching through this. Don't accept it as truth necessarily. Contact me, find or look at the sources that I have in here, and make sure that these are good information. This is good information. So, give an example. There's a guy named Julius Billiter that has done a lot of research within this area of Switzerland, and so a lot of people just automatically grab onto his information because they're grabbing it from somebody who grabbed it from somebody who grabbed it from somebody who grabbed it from his information. His information is really poor. He did a pretty good job of assigning families together. Okay, we know these kids came from these parents, but he didn't know who the parents belonged to, what family those belonged to. So he would just guess at it. And so you can get a snapshot of a generation, but you can't go beyond that without it being very unreliable. So a lot of people have given me information that's been based off of that, and early on I was just putting it in the website before I realized how bad that information was. So nowadays I'm really trying to refine it and say, okay, this is the information we know that is very, very, very accurate. So just give you a heads up. Double check everything, find out where the sources are, make sure of it when you're doing your genealogy research. Because the last thing you want is somebody to look at your research and then have some misinformation in there. With my direct ancestry and their families, I'm very careful. So you can, if you know what who my ancestors are, you can know that those are reliable if they're in here. Down here, you've got like oldest living individual that's in the website, and how many passenger lists I have, and how many census reports I put in here, things like that. And I'm always happy to put more in there. Just send them to me. And I mean that's pretty much it. I don't know of anything else that I really need to make note of at this point. I do try to keep things also in German if at all possible. So this would, so for our Swiss and German relatives, I'd love for them to be able to use this website as well. So we've tried to keep things, we try to translate when possible, and sometimes the documents are in German, and so, it's up to you to translate it, or contact me and I might be able to help you out with that. So anyway, that's an overview of the website. Again, sign up for an account here, you can do that by hitting this log on or login link here, and then you can sign up for a new one. And it's automatic. You'll be given access right away. Again, no charge, and we're not selling any information or anything like that. And also here, again, this is going to look a little different down the road because I'll start populating this with information. Probably this video will be in here as well. Probably maybe on the first one. I think that's everything you need to know to get started. Contact me if you have any questions whatsoever. You can do that through the info link right here, down to the Contact Us link, and just type your information in there. Or if you know me personally, just contact me by other means. I'm happy to help you out. You know that I will. So I wish you guys well in all that you're doing, and any way I can help you out, just please let me know. Thanks.